everyone. Welcome back to day 14 of our English journey. I'm Emma.
And I'm Zero. We're so glad you're here with us. It's been an amazing couple of weeks, and today we're diving into something super exciting. How to speak English like a native.
That's right, Zero. And just to be clear, we're not talking about becoming perfect or sounding like a robot. It's more about sounding natural, fluid, and, like you belong in a conversation without having to think about every word.
Exactly. We all know how tough it can be, especially when you're first learning. There are so many things that can trip you up. Slang, contractions, intonation, the list goes on. But don't worry. Today, we're going to break it down for you.
Right. So let's kick it off with the first big tip. Mastering contractions. Native speakers use contractions all the time, whether it's in casual speech or even in more formal settings. If you're not using them yet, it might sound a little stiff or unnatural.
Yes. I remember when I first learned English, I was like, I am going to the store. And people would look at me like, what's wrong with you? Laughs. But in everyday conversations, native speakers would say, I'm going to the store. It just flows better.
Exactly. And it's not just I'm instead of I am. There's don't instead of do not, can't instead of cannot, and she's instead of she is. Native speakers love using these contractions because it makes speech faster and more relaxed.
Right. And here's a fun fact. Some contractions can even be combined. Like instead of saying I would have, we might say I'd have. It's super casual, but it's something native speakers do all the time in informal conversations.
That's true. And speaking of informal, the second tip is all about using slang and idioms. Native speakers use idiomatic expressions that don't always make sense literally, but they're key to sounding natural.
For sure. Like, I'm feeling under the weather means I'm sick, not that you're literally under some clouds. Or hit the sack means going to bed, not literally hitting a sack. It can be confusing at first, but once you get the hang of it, your speech will sound way more native.
Exactly. Another common one is hang in there. You'll hear that when someone's going through a tough time but needs to stay strong. Instead of saying don't give up, you'll hear hang in there all the time.
And we can't forget about phrasal verbs. They're everywhere in English. Phrasal verbs are phrases that combine a verb with a preposition or an adverb, like pick up, bring up, or run into.
Yes, they're super common. For example, I ran into Emma at the store. Doesn't mean I literally ran into her. It means I met her by chance. Native speakers use phrasal verbs all the time, so it's really important to get familiar with them.
Phrasal verbs can be tricky because the meaning often changes based on the context. But once you start using them, it will really help you sound more like a native speaker. For example, turn up can mean to arrive, or it can mean to increase the volume. It all depends on how it's used.
Right. And it's not just about words and phrases. Intonation is another big factor. Native speakers don't just speak with the right words. They also use the right pitch and rhythm.
Yes. The way you say something can totally change the meaning. For example, if you say, you're going to the party tonight, with a rising tone, it sounds like you're asking a question. But if you say it with a falling tone, it might sound more like a statement or even like you're surprised.
Exactly. English isn't just about vocabulary. It's about how you say things. If you mimic the natural rise and fall of a native speaker's voice, your conversations will sound much more fluent.
And here's another great tip. Linking words together. Native speakers rarely pronounce words completely separately. We link words together to make our speech smoother. For example, what do you think? Can sound like what do you think? When said quickly. It's just how the flow of the language works.
Yes. This is especially true with words like gonna for going to or wanna for want to. You'll hear it all the time. If you're not doing this, your English might sound a little more stiff, like you're reading out of a textbook.
Exactly. And speaking of flow, you've got to pay attention to the context. Native speakers adjust their language based on the situation, whether it's formal or casual. For example, you wouldn't say, "What's up?" in a job interview, right?
Definitely not. In an interview, you'd stick to more formal language, like, "How are you today?" But in a relaxed setting with friends, "What's up?" is totally fine. So it's all about adapting.
And finally, let's talk about practice. 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 It's the best way to improve. The more you practice speaking with native speakers or even listening to them, the better you'll get.
You don't need to wait for perfection. Just get out there and start talking. It's the only way to get comfortable with the language. Listen to podcasts, watch movies, and chat with people, even if it's just a few sentences a day.
Exactly. The more you expose yourself to natural conversations, the faster you'll pick up those nuances, like slang, contractions, and the natural rhythm of English.
So, to sum it up, if you want to speak English like a native, focus on contractions, phrasal verbs, idioms, intonation, and linking words. Oh, and don't forget, practice is key.
Absolutely. And hey, if you feel like you're not sounding perfect, don't worry. Everyone's on their own language journey. Just keep going and you'll get there.
We hope these tips help you sound more natural in your English conversations. Thanks for joining us today. We'll catch you on the next one, Day 15.
Until then, take care and keep practicing. Bye.